The big tree seemed to be calling, and the castle suddenly became quiet. Lin Moyu felt a little weird walking among them. Originally the castle was very quiet, but now, it has become even quieter. Since he left the garden, he has never been in any danger. It's kind of weird. Lin Moyu walked along the corridors of the castle and finally came to the hall. The length of the halls is more than 200 meters, the height is also more than 100 meters, and the fields are spacious. It's not the kind of spaciousness that uses formations, but a real space. There are no traces of battle here, which shows that the Great War at that time did not affect this place. The hall was very quiet, and a delicate throne was placed on the main seat directly in front of it. The skeleton throne. The moment he saw the throne, Lin Moyu almost instinctively said aloud, "If you look closely, it's not the skull throne, but the two are too similar." Lin Moyu guessed that the throne should be the seat of the owner of the manor. Just about to go over to see what happened, suddenly there was a sound from behind, and the sound of footsteps suddenly sounded. In addition to the sound of footsteps, there are also some messy voices. Somebody is coming. Lin Moyu turned his head to look, and some figures appeared outside the hall. The first one to rush in was a demon family, covered with scales and thorns, and the fields were divided. He glanced fiercely at Lin Moyu, and said viciously, "Human race." Lin Moyu said softly, "Is there a problem?" The demon clan clenched his fists and his chest heaved, "Be careful." He didn't do anything. The unspoken rules were tacitly maintained among the various ethnic groups, and when there was no conflict of interest, he would not do anything. Otherwise, it is possible to make wedding dresses for others. This kind of thing is not worth the loss, and all ethnic groups are unwilling to do it. Lin Moyu looked him up and down. He was covered in scales and armor, his skin was rough and his flesh was thick, and he could tell at a glance that his body was not weak. The physical body is indeed possible, but why can he appear here directly, and there are more than one? Someone else appeared outside the hall. What appeared this time was an old man of the human race, dressed in a robe, hale and hearty, exuding the unique temperament of a soldier. Lin Moyu could feel that his body contained majestic power, and his physical strength was very strong. Coupled with his temperament, Lin Moyu immediately said, "But Elder Wang Xing." The second batch of elders who came in was called Wang Xing, and he was leading 3 people at that time. Obviously these 3 people were already dead. When Wang Xing saw Lin Moyu, joy flashed in his eyes. It was the joy of seeing a fellow clan. "It's the old man, my little friend is." Lin Moyu said, "Junior Lin Moyu." As he spoke, Lin Moyu took out the glory token. Seeing the honor token, Wang Xing raised his eyebrows several times, and the way he looked at Lin Moyu suddenly changed. There are only 2 kinds of people who can get the honor token. One is a top genius, and the other is a person who has made outstanding contributions to the human race. Needless to say, Lin Moyu falls into the former category. Wang Xing did not dare to underestimate the top talent, let alone the other party can still come here. Wang Xing asked Lin Moyu about the outside world very simply. Lin Moyu said, "Before this junior came in, Renwang Network released a mission, and the difficulty of the mission was Crimson. The reason is because Elder Wang was trapped in it, and there has been no news of it. Everyone thought that Elder Wang was in danger. Actually, with the strength of Elder Wang, we are a little unfounded." Wang Xing smiled wryly. "In fact, several times, this old man almost lost his life here." Wang Xing narrated his experience. After entering the manor, like everyone else, he experienced the test of the first 3 levels of reaction. Fortunately, Wang Xing was experienced and survived without any risk. In the subsequent battle experiments, 1-on-1, 1-on-3, and Wang Xing were all fine. Then, in a 1-to-10 match, Wang Xing was almost beaten to death. He had no chance to escape into the safe passage. Fortunately, as an elder, he carried enough pills on his body, fought and fled, and finally survived. The next assassination by flowers and grasses was dangerous again. Wang Xing was lucky, and survived after suffering a little injury. It was just the last safe passage. Wang Xing chose to go in. At that time, he knew that if he continued to move forward like this, he would die in all likelihood. After entering the safe passage, he entered a secret room. It is different from Tang Zhen's secret room, and also different from what Lin Moyu thought. There are 2 doors in the secret room, leading to different places. One is the exit. When you go out, you leave the manor, and there is also a reward. The other is to keep going. Wang Xing was not in a hurry. He chose to move on after recovering from his injuries in the secret room. So, for the next time, he circled around in each secret room. In addition to being dangerous, the secret room also has the attribute of a maze. Every time you pass through the secret room 3 times, there will be 5 exits in the secret room. One of them left the manor, one of the other 4 was the correct exit, and the other 3 continued in the secret room maze. Elder Wang Xing had several opportunities to leave the secret room, but he had a stubborn personality, and when his temper came up, he competed with the secret room. Too bad he didn't get it right once. Lin Moyu was amused, and said to himself, it turns out that the game field is like this. It seems that the owner of the manor has a special liking for the maze. 0 looking for flowers. In his opinion, the whole manor is actually like a puzzle-solving field. Each level is a puzzle, there is no hint throughout the whole process, you need to think about how to solve it yourself. It must have been more difficult before, but after the Great War, the manor fell into a semi-abandoned state, so it became easier. Elder Wang Xing was trapped in the maze composed of secret rooms for several days. Just now, the maze disappeared suddenly. He found himself in the old castle, and then walked over. At this time, someone walked into the hall again. They belonged to different races, and they all had powerful physical bodies. Lin Moyu knew that these guys should have come from the maze just like Elder Wang Xing. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? It seemed that he was the only one who entered the fort from the main entrance. 0. As for why the maze disappeared, Lin Moyu didn't know. He didn't bother to guess, the result was already in front of him, so it was meaningless to ask why. After Wang Xing finished speaking, he was curious, how did little friend solve the maze? Lin Moyu shook his head, I didn't enter the maze. Wang Xing was taken aback, and immediately realized that Lin Moyu had come all the way. Little friend Lin, what is the next level after the flowers and plants? Can you tell this old man? At that time, he felt that he had to enter the safe passage, otherwise he would die. But at the same time, he was curious about what the next test would be. Lin Moyu talked about the 1,000 Skeleton Legion test, and Wang Xing's face changed. With his strength, if there are 10 or 100 skeletons, he can still maneuver around and maybe have a chance to pass. If it is thousands of names. He must die. He is a god, although his physical body has reached the real god level, almost the 5th level of the true god level, but he is not good at meat. 10 flower monsters had already beaten him half to death, and 1,000 skeletons were terrifying. He was grateful for his choice at the time, and at the same time he was amazed at Lin Moyu's strength. Although he couldn't see Lin Moyu's cultivation level now, Lin Moyu's physical body was very strong, stronger than himself. Lin Moyu saw his doubts, and said with a smile, the junior's cultivation level is not high, but he has cultivated a physical body, which is relatively large. Knowing Lin Moyu's modesty, Wang Xing followed him. It seems that cultivating the body is not useless. Lin Moyu smiled and did not answer. After waiting for a while, many people turned around. There are already more than 20 people who have entered the hall one after another, among which the number of demons is the largest. There are 8. There are only Lin Moyu and Wang Xing in the human race, and there are no other corpses. Lin Moyu's eyes swept over the various races in the hall. Demons, golden eagles, and fire lions. All of them are races known for their physical strength. They also felt Lin Moyu's gaze, staring back one by one, with fierce eyes. Wang Xing frowned, his face became gloomy, some trouble. There are 9 races in the field, 6 of them have enemies with the human race, and 3 races have no enemies, but they are not considered friends. All of them looked weird, and they were all ugly from the perspective of the human race. There are not many allies of the human race, and they are all races such as the butterfly race. Cultivation is not necessarily bad, but the physical body is generally not strong. Only the dragon race is an exception. They have a good relationship with the human race, and their bodies are among the best among all races. But this time, the dragon clan did not come. As a god, Wang Xing has a high level of cultivation and is strong, but there is no use for here. Everyone's realm cultivation has been suppressed to the 5th level of the true god, without exception. All he can rely on here is his physical body. Relying on his cultivation as a god, his physical body has naturally grown to almost the 5th level of a true god. Compared with these races that are good at physical bodies, they do not have an advantage. If it is one-on-one, he is naturally not afraid. But if many people besieged him, it would be difficult to resist. He has already noticed that some guys cast unkind eyes on him, as if they would strike at any time. Here, it is more dangerous than in the labyrinth of secret chambers. He lowered his voice, what should I do? Lin Moyu didn't care. Don't worry, I'll kill them later. Wang Xing's eyes revealed a look of surprise. What does it mean to kill them later? He didn't mean that at all. What he meant was how to save his life. Obviously, he felt that Lin Moyu misunderstood him. Lin Moyu's attention was not on those alien races at this time. The throne on the front seat in the hall was emitting a faint fluorescence. The light is very faint. If you don't look carefully, you can't see clearly at all. Even if you see it, you will only feel it is a faint reflection. Several demons looked at each other, seeing that they were about to make a move. Wang Xing kept staring at them, and his whole body tensed up. Suddenly, the door squeaked and was slammed shut. The light from the outside world was blocked, and the yin hall instantly went dark. The darkness is not a problem for everyone present, but when the hall is dark, the shimmering throne looks very dazzling. All attention is drawn to the throne. The demon clan also temporarily gave up their hands. Treasure. A demon let out a low cry and rushed over immediately. Several other demons acted at the same time, stopped in front of everyone, and stared at everyone with unkind eyes. If anyone dares to grab the treasure at this time, they will make a move. At this time, the advantage of the number of demons is highlighted. Wang Xing questioned Lin Moyu with his eyes, as if he wanted to make a move. Lin Moyu shook his head. Don't worry, the game has just begun. Game just started. This sentence made Wang Xing feel weird. He wondered if Lin Moyu knew something. After all, Lin Moyu entered the manor through the main entrance, which is different from him, and he can get more information. In doubt, the demon clan who rushed over suddenly showed a look of panic. He seemed to have seen some horrible picture. The light on the throne suddenly brightened, and a huge skull appeared at the same time. The skull opened its mouth wide and devoured the demon in one gulp. When everyone came back to their senses, the demon had disappeared. Everyone was terrified, and several demons also trembled at the same time, with panic in their eyes. What kind of treasure is there? This is simply a trap for eating people. No, it is a trap for eating demons. Wang Xing whispered, how do you know? Lin Moyu laughed, guess. Seeing that Lin Moyu didn't answer, Wang Xing didn't ask any further questions. Lin Moyu guessed it indeed. The garden outside is a game of chasing, and the maze in the secret room afterwards is also a game of solving puzzles. And the lobby here should also be a game, but he still doesn't know what the content of the game is. But Lin Moyu can be sure that the protagonist props of this game must be the throne in front of him. Before the game starts, whoever dares to grab the throne will surely die. The faces of several demons were very ugly, and they did not expect that the throne would suddenly kill people. But the powerhouses of several other races gloated at the demons. They have seen what the demon clansmen did before. It's just that because of the gap in numbers and strength, they dare not speak out. It is a good thing for them to lose one member of the demon race now. The dim light on the throne gradually shrank, revealing a figure. The figure is hazy and blurred, and it is difficult to see clearly. But Lin Moyu saw the figure, but his eyes shrunk. It wears a cape. An almost identical cape to Skeletron. Combined with the thrones that are at least 80 to 90% similar, Lin Moyu almost instinctively believes that the person on the throne is the Skeleton King. Is the owner of the manor the Skeleton King? This is impossible. The Skeleton King is just a summoned object he summoned by fusion of spells. How could he appear here? But the two are too similar. At this time, the hazy figure on the throne raised his head, and he seemed to be looking at the people in the hall. Swept by invisible gazes, everyone except Lin Moyu felt terrified. The hazy figure stood up slowly, and the illusory cloak behind him moved without wind. Hunting sound. Everyone was vigilant, not knowing what was going to happen next. In their eyes, the whole manor is full of strangeness, and the hazy existence in front of them is also an existence they cannot understand. At this time, the dim shadow took a picture of the throne behind him, and a skull on the throne lit up, and then a skeleton appeared in the hall. Then the hoarse voice of the hazy phantom slowly sounded, skeletons are soldiers, and you are thieves. There is a limited time for a stick of incense. A newly lit incense appeared in Zuying's hand. The incense was lit, and the skeletons rushed towards them. Everyone exploded in fright and fled in all directions. Although the hall is spacious, it looks extremely small if they are chasing and escaping. Skeleton first set his sights on a demon family, and that demon family did not know what would happen if he was caught, so he fled without fleeing. The corners of Lin Moyu's mouth twitched twice. Officers and soldiers catching thieves. It's really a game. It is indeed a game, and obviously the fate of being caught will not be very good. Wang Xing originally wanted to escape, but seeing that Lin Moyu didn't move, he simply didn't move either. He whispered, "He is a demon clan, a basalt demon from hell. The physical body is very strong, known for its strength, and it is also a central power among the demon clan." Lin Moyu knew that Wang Xing was talking to himself. There are too many types of demons, and thousands of them are not right. Lin Moyu only memorized some of the stronger ones and their characteristics. "I have heard of Xuanwu demon, and it is indeed not weak. It once caused a lot of trouble to the people. But now, Xuanwu demon is in a mess." The skeleton stared at the Xuanwu demon and ran all over the hall, making a crisp clicking sound. The clicking sound echoed in the dim hall, and everyone felt a creepy feeling. The skeleton is very fast, much faster than the Xuanwu demon, and the skeleton is extremely flexible. In less than 30 seconds, the Xuanwu demon has been cornered. The Xuanwu demon roared, and a huge club appeared in his hand, which drove the skeleton army away. The skeleton punched out at will, and the giant's stick shattered. Immediately afterwards, it rushed in front of him and punched out several times. Xuanwu exploded like a balloon on the spot, and the flesh and blood scattered all over the ground. Everyone's heart trembled. The combat power of this skeleton was beyond imagination. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, it turned out that this was the fate of being caught. The rules of the game did not say what would happen if you were caught, it turned out to be a dead word. The skeleton turned around, red light burst out of its eyes, and stared at the second one. The person being targeted was a member of the Golden Eagle clan. He was golden all over, and his feathers were like sharp swords. Not only has a strong defense, but also can launch attacks. But to shoot feathers, it will only be used in the last desperate effort, and it will not be used easily. To the moment he was stared at by the skeleton, his wings shook, and he shot in the opposite direction on the spot, quickly distanced himself from the skeleton. He is very fast, much faster than Xuanwu demon. It's a pity that he can't fly here, and the space in the hall is limited, so his speed advantage can't be used. The skeleton still ran over with a clicking sound, and came to him in a blink of an eye. With a strange cry, the golden eagle quickly turned around and fled to the other side. The skeleton chased after him again, and the speed was no slower than him. For a moment, the hall was shimmering with golden light, and the golden eagle monsters were chaotic everywhere in the hall. Everyone looked at the golden eagle with pity, and they all knew that as long as they were caught up by the skeletons, they would be dead in all likelihood. Lin Moyu looked at the incense stick in Zuying's hand, and insisted on holding on for a stick of incense. He estimated that based on the burning speed of the incense, it takes about 10 minutes to burn a stick of incense, which is 60 seconds. But the first Xuanwu demon lasted for less than 30 seconds. Right now the golden eagle is faster, and obviously it will last longer. In other words, after a stick of incense, the people here will not die, at least a few can survive. It's a brutal game. Lin Moyu sighed softly, he stopped paying attention to the incense in Zuying's hand, and turned to look at the skeleton. This skeleton is different from the one he summoned, and looks more powerful. The white bones on the body can no longer be called white bones, it is more appropriate to call them jade bones. If you look closely, there is even a sense of crystal clearness. The unusual white bones represent the powerful battle history of the skeleton. After the golden eagles persisted for a minute, the skeleton suddenly screamed. The golden eagle, who was running away, paused, as if it was bound by something. Everyone was a little dazed and didn't know what happened. But Lin Moyu could tell that it was the death breath from the skeleton, which turned into a net and restrained the golden eagle. The golden eagle struggled desperately, its whole body was shining golden, and it quickly broke free. But half a second has passed, and half a second is enough time to come to him. The golden eagle screamed in terror, and the golden light exploded. The feathers all over his body exploded like sharp arrows. Countless streaks of golden light swept across the entire hall, and everyone's expressions changed drastically, and they immediately launched the defenses. Wang Xing took out a small tower, and the small tower sprinkled a light curtain, blocking the light. The skeleton bears the brunt of being engulfed by the golden light, and the golden light falls on it, making a jingling sound. A fist rushed out of the golden light and hit the golden eagle's head like lightning. Boom! The golden eagle's head exploded, and its soul was destroyed together. The featherless body fell powerlessly to the ground, and the golden light disappeared without a trace. Everyone gasped, but it didn't work. At this time, the skeleton turned around again and locked on the third person. A red-headed, lion-shaped demon roared fiercely, and fled to the other corner without looking back, keeping a distance from the skeleton. The advantage of the large number of demons is revealed at this moment, and the probability of being hit by skeletons is the highest. The fire lion demon is an abyss-type demon. His whole body is covered in flames. The flames are reddish and green. They have both the characteristics of flames and the characteristics of fire from the abyss. He turned into flames and began to flee for his life in the hall. The clicking sound made by the skeleton running was like the sound of Hades demanding his life, which was frightening. At this time, everyone's faces became extremely ugly. They could tell that the fire lion demon wouldn't last long. The fire lion demon was not good at speed, so it was estimated that it would be beheaded soon. Lin Moyu counted the time. There are 495 rashes left. The Xuanwu demon lasted for 30 seconds before, and the golden eagle lasted for a full 75 seconds. I just don't know how long the fire lion demon can last this time. The longer he persists, the more likely someone else will survive. Now no one is gloating, and everyone hopes that the fire lion demon can last a little longer. Because God knows if it will be his turn next. There is obviously no rule to follow when the skeleton chooses a person, it is all based on luck. The fire lion demon kept running away, although he tried his best, the distance between him and the skeleton was still getting closer. With fire under his feet, he has already increased his speed to the limit. Too bad speed isn't his forte. Finally, the skeleton came in front of him and punched out. The figure of the fire lion exploded, the flames splashed, and the entire hall was full of flames. Died. Everyone couldn't help sighing in their hearts. But the skeleton didn't look at anyone else, it jumped straight at one of the flames, and threw out another punch. A strange cry came from the flames, it was the voice of the fire demon. He is not dead. Everyone was shocked, and the fire lion escaped. Amidst the strange screams, the skeleton punched the flames again. Then turned around and jumped to the other side without stopping. A man of the Red Copper tribe changed his face drastically, and the skeleton was rushing towards him. He was about to flee when suddenly his body was bumped so violently that he flew towards the skeleton. The fire lion demon suddenly appeared behind him and bumped him into the skeleton. Under the terrified expression of the Copper tribe, the skeleton and the Copper tribe collided together. The bodies of the Red Copper clansmen exploded like mud, and the skeletons continued to go down towards the fire without any change in castration. The fire lion demon screamed strangely again, and fled quickly. At this moment, everyone is vigilant, for fear that the fire lion demon will repeat his old tricks and kill himself. Wang Xing explained softly, the fire lion demon has a technique that can use flames to perform two short-distance teleportation, but each teleportation can only teleport to replace with flames. It turned out that this was the case, no wonder the fire lion demon was not killed by a single punch just now. And behind the Red Copper demon, there happened to be a flame burning blazingly. The Red Copper people died unjustly. If they are so careless, they will die sooner or later in the big world. In the end, the fire lion demon also failed to escape the skull's pursuit. At 75 seconds, the skull caught up with a punch and exploded his head. The time to persist is not as good as that of the golden eagles. There are 420 seconds left in the time, and 4 people have died. One of them, in fact, does not need to die. Including Lin Moyu and Wang Xing, there were 17 people present, and it is not known how many will survive in the end. Everyone's heart is like a stone. At this time, the skeleton looked towards Lin Moyu, and finally fixed on Wang Xing. Wang Xing's face suddenly turned pale. I'm dying. Wang Xing was stared at by the skeleton, his red eyes were ruthlessly like 2 knives, one bucket smashed his head, and the other pierced his soul. He is not afraid of death, and in his cultivation career, many times he managed to escape from death. But he didn't want to die so aggrieved. But now he has nothing to do, here, once he is targeted by the skeleton, he cannot escape. He used all his defensive magic weapons, but he couldn't withstand a few punches. The skeleton in front of him seemed to violate the rules, it was too terrifying. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and a breath of death quickly dissipated, covering Wang Xing silently. Originally, the hall was filled with the breath of death, but Lin Moyu's behavior did not attract anyone's attention. Even Wang Xing himself felt chills all over his body and didn't know what Lin Moyu had done. At the moment when the breath of death enveloped Wang Xing, the skeleton suddenly skipped over Wang Xing, looked to the other side, and finally landed on a member of the Iron Bear tribe. The Iron Bear clansman was still rejoicing that the skeleton hadn't found them just now, when a catastrophe suddenly befell them. The skeleton moved, and the Iron Bear tribe screamed, threw a big knife, slashed at the skeleton in the air, and retreated quickly at the same time. He knew that his speed was not fast, and he couldn't escape, so he chose to fight back. The broadsword is of a high level and is the magic weapon of the God King realm, but it is still easily crushed by the skeleton. Only then did everyone know that this chosen member of the Iron Bear clan was originally a God King, and his level was not low. It's a pity that even the King of Gods still has to die here. The skeleton is too strong to see the limit. Wang Xing's chest heaved violently, and his whole body was soaked in sweat. Only the person involved knew the feeling of narrow escape. Lin Moyu smiled softly. Elder Wang has a long life, so nothing will happen. Wang Xing said with an embarrassed smile, I'm just lucky this time. Lin Moyu chuckled. Elder Wang's luck has always been good. Lin Moyu just tried it to see if the breath of death would work. Under the shroud of death breath, Jianxing may be regarded as a dead person. But even if it didn't work, Lin Moyu couldn't just watch Wang Xing die. At that time, his undead army will be dispatched. Even if he can't beat this skeleton, at least he can delay the time until the stick of incense is burned, there is no problem. But now that the breath of death is useful, Lin Moyu doesn't bother to move. He enveloped himself and Wang Xing with the breath of death to ensure that the skeleton would not choose them. As for other people's life and death, own fart. The Iron Bears were indeed not good at speed. After a series of resistance, they were finally killed by the skeleton after 35 seconds. At this time, there were more than 300 seconds left in the time, and the stick of incense was only burned for more than 1/3. The skeleton chose the target again, and everyone was nervous for fear of being chosen as the master. Only Lin Moyu, not nervous at all. Wang Xing asked, aren't you afraid? Lin Moyu chuckled, it's useless to be afraid, what should come will always come. Wang Xing chewed on Lin Moyu's words, indeed, I admire my little friend's courage. One after another was selected by the skeleton, and was chased to death unwillingly. The incense is getting shorter and shorter, and those who survived are praying. When there was less than a quarter of Xiang left, Lin Moyu estimated that there were about 100 seconds left. At this time, more than half of the people died. In the hall, including him and Wang Xing, there were only people left. Among them, there are 3 people left from the demon clan, and 5 people from other clans. At this time, the phantom on the throne suddenly moved, and the voice sounded again. In the last 100 seconds, the reinforcements from the officers and soldiers arrived. After the voice fell, the throne behind him lit up again, and another skeleton appeared in the hall. All of a sudden, the number of skeletons chasing down changed from 1 to 2. This skeleton does not lock on a new person, but is the same person as the first skeleton. The 2 skeletons cooperated with each other, and the hunted person only persisted for less than 20 seconds, and soon died unwillingly. The addition of new skeletons greatly increases the difficulty of the game. Everyone has no way to resist, and can only choose to accept it aggrieved. In the last 100 seconds, 3 more were killed. When the incense burned out, the 2 skeletons disappeared at the same time, and only 6 people survived. Lin Moyu and Wang Xing were safe and sound, and there were 2 remaining demons, the King Kong demon of the Hell Department and the Phantom Fire demon of the Abyss Department. In addition, there are Tenglong clan and Giant Ant clan guests. The 4 were extremely fortunate, their eyes filled with joy for the rest of their lives after death. Lin Moyu shook his head lightly when he saw it. In his eyes, these 4 people were already dead. If there is no game in the future, then they will also die in their own right. If there is still a game, then they will become cannon fodder and die in the game. It was also because he wanted to use them as cannon fodder, so when he first entered the hall, Lin Moyu didn't do anything. Rules. What are rules? In the big world, the big fist is the rule. If there hadn't been this game just now, it is estimated that the 8 members of the demon clan would have already attacked them. Congratulations, you have escaped the pursuit of the officers and soldiers, and now I will present you with awards and certificates. Lin Moyu is at a loss, the reward is nothing. What is the reward? How does it feel like being in a child? Several rays of light shot out from the throne, turning into diamond-shaped crystals the size of fists in the air. Next to the crystal, there is indeed a certificate of merit. The certificate of award is made of special red paper, and it says, "Congratulations on winning the game of catching thieves by officers and soldiers." Special rewards are issued as encouragement. I hope you will continue to work hard. Lin Moyu has a black hair. The rewards and certificates, no matter how you look at it, it seems to be coaxing children. He was startled suddenly, thinking that this manor is actually a playground. Could it be that the manor itself is a place where its owner brings his descendants to play games? Afterwards, affected by the war, the rules in the manor changed and became dangerous. Lin Moyu feels that his guess is close to 10, otherwise he cannot explain the current situation. If so, those people died really well. Lin Moyu accepted the crystal and the certificate helplessly. There is no difference between this crystal and the one I got. I already have 2 of them, and I don't know what they are useful for. What is this? Wang Xing grabbed the awards and certificates in a daze, and didn't ask God. Everything that happened in front of my eyes was too weird. What the hell? Finally survived. This is the reward. Keep working hard and make progress every day. I'm sorry. Well done. The survivors complained one after another. Lin Moyu suddenly realized something was wrong. No, there is a problem. The characters on the certificate are obviously written in ancient Chinese, which is completely different from the characters in the big world. How did they meet? Lin Moyu turned his eyes and said to Wang Xing, Elder Wang, why do I think the words on the reward are a bit too big? Wang Xing was puzzled. It's not strange, it's the universal language of the world. Lin Moyu has seen the universal characters of the big world, which is not like this at all. He pondered for half a second, wondering if everyone saw the text differently. But he couldn't explain it. At this time, Zhu Ying spoke again. Little guys who won, you can now take the crystal and exchange it for what you want. You guys understand the rules. Think about what you want in your heart, maybe your wish will come true. When the voice fell, the phantom disappeared. A light curtain was projected from the throne, and a hole appeared in the center of the light curtain, which was exactly the shape of a crystal. Zhu Ying's tone was like the elders in the family teasing the younger children. Lin Moyu is more certain of his guess. This manor is actually a playground for its owner and his children. It can also be seen as a place for leisure and relaxation. Perhaps because of that war, the 2 things have undergone strange changes. It's also possible that our so-called danger is not a danger at all to the people here, it's just a game. While guessing, his eyes fell on the light curtain projected by the throne. There seemed to be countless treasures shining in the light curtain. There are weapons, armor, and some weird-looking things. Lin Moyu saw small towers, beads, whips, and shoes. These things are looming in Xiguang. And the hole in the center of the light curtain is exactly the same as the diamond-shaped crystal in his hand. The meaning is very clear. As long as you put the crystal in the hole, you can get the treasure. As for what treasure to get, it depends on what you want and what you want in your mind. Lin Moyu rolled his eyes and said to Wang Xing, let's go there. Without hesitation, Wang Xing immediately responded, okay. Elder Wang Xing had an inexplicable trust in Lin Moyu. He was locked by the skeleton just now, and he was panicked, but Lin Moyu remained calm. Later, for some reason, the skeleton suddenly changed its target and ignored itself. At that time, he hadn't reacted yet, but later he recalled carefully, he felt a chill when he was 897, as if something enveloped him. Then the skeleton stopped paying attention to itself. Not only did he not pay attention to himself at the time, but he also ignored himself and Lin Moyu in the subsequent choices. When others are panicking, Lin Moyu is always calm and doesn't care. The whole process is watching a play. That appearance, as if he knew from the beginning that he would not be chosen. He felt that Lin Moyu must know something. So what Lin Moyu said, he listened instinctively. The 2 walked towards the wall, this time no one stopped them. There is a lesson from the past. The first demon who rushed to the throne was devoured on the spot. So Lin Moyu and Wang Xing went over, and the other 4 watched quietly, waiting for the result. They hadn't been in the mood to kill for a long time. After being chased by the skeletons just now, as survivors, they just wanted to get out alive and leave this ghost place. In front of the light curtain, Lin Moyu spoke first, Elder Wang, please first. Wang Xing was slightly taken aback, a little puzzled, but he didn't hesitate. Dang even wanted to put the crystal in his hand into Guangmi's hole. Lin Moyu reminded, Elder Wang thinks about what he wants first. Wang Xing nodded, I've already thought about it. As he said that, he put the crystal on it, and the light was instantly enchanting. The light curtain shot out thousands of rays of light, covering Wang Xing. Lin Moyu took a few steps back, keeping a sufficient distance from the light curtain. The light was so bright that no one could see what was happening inside. A few seconds later, the light curtain retreated, and a small tower appeared in Wang Xing's hand. The small tower is very delicate, 9 floors high, but it looks a bit small, not even half the palm of your hand. It's not like a treasure, more like a child's toy. Elder Wang Xing had a complex expression at this time, and he was a little dumbfounded. Seeing that Elder Wang Xing was fine, Lin Moyu couldn't help but heaved a sigh of relief. His judgment was correct. When the game is over, it's time to get rewards. The phantom just now didn't talk nonsense. Before Wang Xing could say anything, his figure quickly became hazy. Beside him, a crack in space appeared, pulling him in with a powerful force. At the other end of the space rift, Lin Moyu felt the breath from the big world. After Wang Xing got the treasure, he was immediately sent back to the big world. Is this game over? But what did Elder Wang's previous expression mean? Before Wang Xing left, Lin Moyu couldn't understand Wang Xing's strange expression. But once Wang Xing left, Lin Moyu felt relieved. For the human race, although there is no shortage of gods, it is naturally best to survive. Even if there are hundreds of god kings, they are no match for one god. Wang Xing can return safely, which is already the best result. His skin tightened slightly, and 4 murderous eyes fell on him. Once Wang Xing left, he was the only one left in the human race. The remaining 4 people, 2 demons, 1 from the Tenglong tribe, and 1 from the giant ant tribe, are all enemies of the human race. They all looked at Lin Moyu with killing intent at the moment. Lin Moyu doesn't know their real state, but here, what state doesn't matter. Giant ants, you are so courageous, you don't even jump. But now, you have no chance. The Tenglong tribe sneered, and leaped towards Lin Moyu like an electric shock. He was very fast, and he was behind Lin Moyu in a blink of an eye, cutting off Lin Moyu's retreat. Although the Tenglong clan also has a dragon character, it has nothing to do with the dragon clan. A long time ago, the Tenglong clan was also called the Teng Snake clan, but for some reason, they changed their name to the Tenglong clan. Perhaps their appearance is 2 or 3 points similar to the dragon clan, so I want to change their name to draw some connections. As soon as Wang Xing left, the balance was suddenly broken, and the 4 obviously didn't want Lin Moyu to leave. Although the demons, dragons, and giant ants are not allies, they have a common enemy, the human race. So this became the reason for the temporary cooperation. Lin Moyu's expression remained the same, he showed no sign of panic, and still looked calm and calm. So you are so sure that you can beat me? The giant ants smiled sharply. It's hard to say that 1 fights 1, but 4 fights 1. Everyone knows how strong your human race is physically. The Tenglong tribe also laughed and said, even if you are a god in the big world, your physical body is not much stronger. Uomo was covered in emerald green flames. You were lucky just now, but your luck has come to an end. The few people seemed to be determined by Lin Moyu, and the killing intent in their eyes became stronger and stronger. Lin Moyu chuckled. It seems that everyone wants to get together, and it's almost time to kill you all. Lin Moyu didn't want him to leave after obtaining the treasure, and Lin Moyu's killing intent began to boil after the king left. Several people were amused by Lin Moyu's words. It's up to you. You want to kill us. I'm afraid you are not crazy. This king is the 8th level god king in the big world, and here he has the body of the 7th level true god. Why do you want to kill me? The human body is fragile, and you are in danger of protecting yourself now, so you don't want to kill us in vain. Lin Moyu chuckled. Try it and you'll know. He suddenly turned around and punched the Tenglong clansman beside him. Caught death. The Tenglong clansman turned around, and his tail whipped towards Lin Moyu. His body is more than 5 meters long, and his appearance is like a snake. This is also where they are similar to the dragons. Dragons and snakes do have 2 points of similarity in appearance. The tail is one of the most powerful weapons of the Tenglong clan. The sharp tail is like a sharp blade, slashing Lin Moyu's fist. The scream sounded, and the Tenglong clansman trembled like an electric shock. His tail exploded like a watermelon, and blood and pieces of meat spilled all over the ground. How can it be? How can the human race have such a strong physical body? The Tenglong tribe couldn't believe it and screamed crazily. His strongest tail was knocked out by Lin Moyu. The faces of the other 3 people changed drastically, and they shouted angrily in unison, kill. The 3 of them flew towards Lin Moyu, the fastest of them being the Uomo. The strongest thing about Uomo is not its physical body, but its speed. His speed was no slower than that of the golden eagles of the same realm, and he had already arrived in front of Lin Moyu in the blink of an eye. But he rushed over tilde come fast, back faster. In a terrified scream, the phantom retreated wildly, with flames scattered all over his body, representing his emotions as well. Not only him, but the giant ant tribe and another demon also retreated crazily, screaming, not stop. Especially the screams of the giant ants are the most ear-piercing. It's ugly. Lin Moyu frowned. Not only is he ugly, but his voice is also so ugly. Beside Lin Moyu, 4 skeleton god warriors appeared. The skeleton god warrior holds a huge axe, and the soul fire in his head is beating, emitting red fire. At first glance, it is 8 or 9 points similar to the skeleton just now. The 4 of them was scared out of their wits and fled quickly, shrinking into the corner of the hall, far away from Lin Moyu. Even the Tenglong clansmen whose tail was broken, endured the pain at this moment, hiding as far as they could. It's a pity that the hall is too small, otherwise he would want to be thousands of light years away from Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu chuckled, how timid you are. The Yuhua family screamed in horror, who are you? Lin Moyu, isn't my name on your devils must kill list. Lin Moyu said lightly. Uomo recalled that there was indeed a human race named Lin Moyu on the kill list. As long as they can be on the must-kill list, they are all people who must be killed by the demon clan. Among them are not those who have caused great harm to the demon clan, or some geniuses. Maybe their strength is weak now, but they are very likely to pose a threat to the demon clan in the future. At that time, he saw that Lin Moyu was the super god, and the super god can be on the must-kill list, which shows that Lin Moyu's potential is very terrifying. Even he thought that if he saw Lin Moyu, he would definitely kill him. But now, he wished he hadn't met Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu said lightly, since you know my name and who killed you, you can die with peace of mind. Lin Moyu stopped talking nonsense to them, and the 4 skeleton warriors had already rushed over with their axes. Out of the previous fear of skeletons, facing the pursuit of the 4 skeleton god fighters today, the 4 never thought of fighting back. One by one screamed again and again, frantically fleeing in the hall. The skeleton god warrior has the combat strength of the 7th to 8th ranks of the true gods, and the attributes are balanced. The pure physical strength has reached the 6th rank of the true gods. In the big world, this kind of combat power may not be a big deal, any god king can crush the skeleton god warrior. But in this special environment, the physical power of the 6th order true god is already very strong. Lin Moyu is like watching a drama, watching the soldiers chase and kill them. Seeing the 4 people in such a panic, they frantically ran for their lives. There was fear in the eyes of the 4 of them, and they didn't dare to confront the skeleton god warrior head-on. This is the real officers and soldiers catching thieves. But it seems that there are not enough officers and soldiers, so let's add a few more. Lin Moyu chuckled, and decided not to waste any more time, planning to make a quick decision. Instantly, 100 skeleton warriors appeared beside him and joined the hunting team. The 4 looked desperate. If I knew this earlier, I shouldn't have bothered Lin Moyu at all, just let him go. Now that this is happening, my own life will depend on it. Little did they know that Lin Moyu had no intention of leaving in the first place. For Lin Moyu, there are 2 choices. One is to kill all these guys, which is not difficult. The second is to keep them as cannon fodder. In case there are any new games in the future, these guys can explore the way for themselves. If it wasn't for the second reason, Lin Moyu would have already started to kill them. This is also the reason why Wang Xing was asked to take the treasure first. He wanted to see what would happen after he got the treasure. What if after taking the treasure, it will automatically enter the next game? If he took it first, Wang Xing would definitely be in danger. The result was that after Wang Xing took the treasure, he left the manor. It was also at that moment that Lin Moyu decided to kill them. He didn't want these people to leave the manor after taking the treasures, that would be too wasteful, it might as well become his own military exploits. In desperation, they were quickly surrounded by god-inviting warriors. The huge axe shadow fell, quickly chopping them into meat paste. There was no twists and turns in the whole process, and there can be no twists and turns. If there are twists and turns, then there will be another batch of skeleton god walking. If one batch is not enough, make 2 batches. No, there are Death Knights, Skeleton Dragons, and Skeleton Generals. The battle ended quickly, and the skeleton god warrior began to clean the battlefield with an axe in hand. The bodies of those who were killed in the game are still in the hall. The skeleton god warriors collected their corpses and brought them back to Lin Moyu. Also with their storage utensils, nothing goes to waste. In a blink of an eye, the battlefield was cleaned up. 4 more fist-sized diamond-shaped crystals appeared in Lin Moyu's hand. 0. Ask for flowers. Counting the 2 yuan in my hand, there are 6 yuan in total. In other words, he can pick treasures from the light curtain 6 times. I don't know what the treasure inside is, because why Elder Wang's appearance is so weird. After cleaning the battlefield, Lin Moyu is planning to exchange treasures in the light curtain. After exchanging treasures, the trip is considered over. At this time, he suddenly discovered that the crystals had fused together. After the 4 fist-sized crystals were fused together, they became much larger. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and he took out his 2 crystals. Sure enough, his 2 crystals also merged with him. After the 6 crystals were fused together, they had already become the size of an adult's head. The crystal became bigger, but it couldn't fit into the skeleton of the light curtain. Then how should I exchange the treasure, and how should I leave? Lin Moyu glanced across the hall, not missing a single detail. It turned out to be disappointing, and there was no proper place to place the crystal. Suddenly his eyes stopped, and Lin Moyu saw a gap in the center of the throne, which seemed to be about the size of the crystal in his hand. With the mentality of giving it a try, Lin Moyu bypassed the light curtain and came behind the throne. He was careful throughout the whole process. After all, the scene of the demon being devoured before is still vivid. Fortunately, nothing happened. After successfully reaching the throne, looking at the gap, it was indeed almost the same as the crystal in his hand. Put the crystal into the gap, and in an instant, the whole throne lights up. The projected light curtain disappeared in an instant, and the throne shone brightly, emitting a dazzling light. Angry roars, the screams before death reached the ears. The sound of swords colliding echoed in the hall. The hall disappeared and was replaced by a garden of flowers and plants. This is the image of the past. Lin Moyu was surprised. This throne recorded the image of the previous war. The sky in the flower grassland of the manor was gloomy and black, followed by lightning and thunder, and tyrannical laws shattered the sky and swept over. The tyrannical law came from outside the sky. Countless meteors and fire rain fell on the flowers and grass, lightning struck, and large areas of grassland flowers were burned. Originally, there were some strange creatures living on the grassland. They had legs and limbs, and they took care of the grassland. They were flower craftsmen. But the sudden disaster completely destroyed the grassland. Then the human army came to the world, and at this moment, these flower and plant craftsmen angrily raised the tools they used to trim flowers and plants, and started fighting with the human army. Flowers are weird. Lin Moyu saw in his eyes that these creatures with legs and limbs were originally flower craftsmen in the manor. That is, the flower monsters he encountered when he came in. They are only responsible for pruning flowers and plants, and they don't have much power. Facing the human army that was gaining momentum, they were quickly slaughtered. After eliminating the flower and plant craftsmen, the army marched towards the manor castle. On the way, they encountered some obstacles again. Some skeletons blocked their way. The skeletons are the guards in the manor, and there are not many of them, only a few thousand. The skeleton is obviously more powerful than the flower monster, but it still fails to block the enemy. The human army invaded the manor, and the castle of the manor burst into brilliance and launched defenses. Kill the skeleton army in the castle and fight against the human army. However, in terms of numbers, the human race had a clear advantage in the war, and quickly suppressed the opponent. At the time of 763, a black shadow came out of the castle and charged over. For a moment, there were screams, and countless people fell from the sky. The Black Shadow is wearing a pitch-black armor, with a scarlet cloak on his back, and when he swings a big sword, he harvests life like mowing grass. Lin Moyu looked familiar at the black figure, especially the big sword in his hand and the scarlet cloak behind him. Skeleton King. He wasn't sure, the armor covered his whole body and he couldn't see clearly. A large number of human warriors were killed, and an army of 10,000 people was killed by the Shadow Men. Finally the general appeared, but he was still not enough to face the Black Shadow, and he was beheaded in less than 10 sword strikes. The Black Shadow fought even more crazily, corpses fell from the air like raindrops, and flowers stained the manor red. Lin Moyu looks at what is happening now for countless years as if he has personally experienced the battlefield. The flesh and blood of the corpses flew horizontally in front of the eyes, and the scene was extremely terrifying. Finally, a more powerful existence came. A powerful being who was also wearing armor fought with the shadow. Lin Moyu has seen the record on the animal's skin and knows that this is the master. The master and the shadow fought, and the army took the opportunity to enter the castle. Soon, there were screams and fighting sounds from the castle, and Lin Moyu knew that most of the people who entered were dead. Juggernaut is not Sombra's opponent. After persisting for a while, he gradually fell into a disadvantage. At this time, Lin Moyu saw the master cut off his own arm, sacrificed his blood to the sky, and cast a powerful spell. Even though he was not actually on the battlefield at that time, Lin Moyu could still feel the terrifying power of this spell. The black shadow was suppressed in an instant and fell from the air. This technique seems to make no distinction between the enemy and the human army, and the human army is also suppressed. The castle, which was extremely strong and could not fall down even in the Great War, seemed to be unable to withstand the huge pressure at this moment, and began to tremble. A gigantic rune appeared in the air. The rune shone brightly, and the moment Lin Moyu saw it, he recognized it at a glance. It was the Great World Rune. It was exactly the same as the Big World Rune he had seen before, except that the Big World Rune in front of him was not damaged in any way. It looked so perfect in the past, as if it represented all the truths in the world. The picture shattered suddenly, and at the moment the picture shattered, Lin Moyu seemed to hear a crisp cracking sound. The picture ends here, and the throne no longer shines. The crystal above had already appeared in the crack, and then it completely shattered with a crisp sound. Lin Moyu sighed. He knew the result of the war that year. Both sides suffered losses, the human army did not take advantage, and the existence of the manor is the best evidence. The Black Shadow is also the servant of the Manor Master, and finally entered the coffin of sleep because of serious injuries after the war. As for the Great World Rune, whether it was damaged due to the war remains to be verified. Lin Moyu felt that Sombra should not have this ability to hit the Sky World. But how he repelled the human army in the end has become a mystery. And what was the cause of the war back then, and in what year did the war happen? In the big world, the human race has experienced many ups and downs. Except for the recent Xiao Zhangshan era 100,000 years ago, the human race also had glory in earlier times. But this battle was obviously earlier than Xiao Zhangshan's era. There is a chronology in history, and it is estimated that it will be difficult to find. While thinking, Lin Moyu unconsciously put his hand on the throne and tapped it lightly. Suddenly, the throne once again shrouded Lin Moyu in a gentle light. Then in Lin Moyu's line of sight, the phantom who presided over the officers and soldiers catching thieves reappeared. Lin Moyu felt that he was staring at him, looking him up and down. He's conscious. Lin Moyu was taken aback. Before, he felt that this phantom was just a memory of the past, and he followed the rules to do things. But now it seems that is not the case at all. Then the phantom disappeared again, and the light of the throne became stronger, and the throne turned into a ray of light, which penetrated into Lin Moyu's body. Lin Moyu's body froze, and in the soul world, a throne. How did he get into my soul world? Lin Moyu became extremely vigilant, invading his soul world in such a grandiose manner. And his own soul world did not give birth to the slightest resistance. It means that the throne is too powerful, so powerful that even the soul world can't resist it. After the throne entered the soul world, it flew straight to the side of the magic star belonging to the Skeleton King, and began to revolve around the magic star. It became a satellite. Lin Moyu was stunned. This mysterious and powerful throne turned into a satellite that summoned the Skeleton King Heifer Star. With his joining, summoned Skeleton King became stronger, and the star quickly strengthened a lot. The 9-star technique is connected in one breath, like a whole. Summon Skeleton King, the spell becomes stronger, which also makes some other lawless stars stronger. However, the 9-star spell becomes stronger, which in turn drives the soul world to become stronger. The light of the 9 magic stars became more intense, and the soul world boomed, expanding a bit rapidly. Lin Moyu felt that his soul power had increased a lot, and he passed on a lot of insights about the law of immortality from the throne. Just a few minutes is better than 10 years or even decades of his comprehension. The understanding of the law is improved, the soul is strengthened, the incomparably pure soul power is transmitted from the giant tree of talent, and the 9-color dragon's soul crystal also spits out soul power without any impurities at the same time. The soul quickly became stronger, and after only a few minutes, Lin Moyu felt that the bottleneck was broken. His cultivation has successfully stepped into the 5th level of the true God, and his law control has increased to 20%. There is no need for him to refine, and the 9-star technique automatically completes 0.8 refining operations. He gets all the information about the throne. This thing, is it really called the Skeleton Throne? Lin Moyu froze for a moment. Originally he just thought it was very similar to the skeleton throne that appeared when the Skeleton King was summoned. I didn't expect it to be called the Skeleton Throne. He also understood the role of the Skeleton Throne, which can enhance the strength of the Skeleton King, and can be regarded as a magic weapon exclusive to the Skeleton King. It is not only an exclusive magic weapon, but also a storage device. The things that Wang Xing obtained before are stored in it. After refining, the treasures inside will naturally belong to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and a small sword appeared in his hand. The small sword is polished from white bones, less than 20 centimeters long, very small and delicate. After figuring out his role, Lin Moyu couldn't help showing a look of dumbfounding, and he was on a par with Wang Xing at that time. Bone Excalibur, toy, it can explode with the aura of a godlike peak, but has no actual attack power. After each use, it needs to wait 10 minutes before it can be used again. Lin Moyu was very speechless. He was really just a toy. It can explode the momentum of the peak of the god, but it has no attack power. What is the use of this thing? Yes, it can be used to scare people. Lin Moyu took out another shield. The shield is also very small, about the size of an adult's palm. There are exquisite patterns carved on it. Invincible shield, it can resist the imposing attack of the gods, but it has no actual defense power and is invalid against real attacks. A picture appeared in Lin Moyu's mind, a brat wielding the bone Excalibur, yelling childishly, "Eat me." Another kid raised his shield, "Look at my invincible shield." I looked at a few more, and they were all toys. Lin Moyu put away these toys dumbfounded. It looks useless, but it seems to be good for coaxing children. At this time Lin Moyu also knew the function of the crystal. The role of this crystal, he can not only record the screen, but also can be used for long-distance communication. Use a special method to divide a crystal into multiple pieces. Communicate with each other. Basically, it can ignore the distance, and even ignore some special places such as secret realms. But it must be separated from the same crystal, and different crystals cannot communicate with each other. The crystals in the mana are actually separated from a huge crystal, so when they meet together, they will fuse with each other. And during the war that year, the crystal in the castle recorded some of the scenes at that time, which was exactly what Lin Moyu saw. Now there is still a large crystal in the throne. Lin Moyu can divide them at any time if necessary. The skeleton throne is also the controller of the mana. As long as one controls the skeleton throne, it is equivalent to controlling the entire castle and the entire mana. As soon as the consciousness moved, the door on the half of the hall opened quickly, and the bright light came in again. Immediately afterwards, a portal appeared on the wall in front of Lin Moyu. This portal leads to a grove at the back of the estate. Before entering the manor, I saw from the outside that there was a small forest behind the manor. Lin Moyu stepped into the portal, the world changed, the picture in front of him became illusory at first, the small forest appeared in front of him, and then shattered with a bang. When Lin Moyu saw clearly, he found that he had left the manor world and returned to the big world. The position where I appear is the same as the position where I entered, without any change. Junior brother Lin, you finally came out. Lin Chanhuang's surprised voice sounded in his ear. Lin Moyu turned around and saw Emperor Qian, flying towards him, with surprise on his face. But someone was faster, and in a blink of an eye, someone had already come to him. Elder Wang Xing was also pleasantly surprised. Little friend Lin, you finally came out. There was concern in his tone, and at the same time he had the appearance of a boulder falling to the ground. To become a god, Wang Xing is naturally not stupid. Afterwards, he already guessed why Lin Moyu asked himself to exchange the treasure first. It is estimated that Lin Moyu wanted to kill someone. Sure enough, after him, the rest of the people failed to come out. The problem is that Lin Moyu didn't come out either, and he started to worry too. He was afraid that Lin Moyu would have an accident inside. Young people like Lin Moyu are rare. If he really died, it would be a big loss to the human race. After waiting for a long time, Lin Moyu finally came out, and he was relieved. Lin Moyu smiled and said, Elder King Lao is worried. Wang Xing laughed and said, little friend Lin, you're being polite. If it wasn't for Xiaoyu Lin this time, the old man would probably die in it. Qian Huang heard Wang Xing's words, and his heart beat violently a few times. It was Lin Moyu who saved Wang Xing. Lin Moyu's ability once again broke his cognition and made him admire. At this time Li Yuanbai also flashed to Lin Moyu's side. Little friend Lin, you have finally come out. Come with me quickly. Seeing his hasty tone, Lin Moyu knew it was serious. He gave Qian Huang a look, signaling to talk later. Li Yuanbai led him to a temporary residence. Before Lin Moyu entered the manor, there was no temporary residence. There are 2 tents in the temporary residence, and Lin Moyu can feel the majestic breath of the law of life through the tents. Is anyone hurt? Lin Moyu asked. These days Li Yuanbai guarded here. How many people went in, how many people came out, and what the situation was, he was very clear. Li Yuanbai said in a deep voice, a total of 4,218 people went in, and 2,542 returned. Among them, 1,966 were slightly injured and 18 were seriously injured. Those who were slightly injured have no major problems after treatment. The 18 people who were seriously injured are all in these 2 tents, and the pills have little effect on them. Lin Moyu asked, is it also the same injury as Captain Tang Zhen at that time? Li Yuanbai nodded, not enough. If it's just the same injury as Tang Zhen's, then Lin Moyu said it's okay and it can be treated. His law of immortality can obliterate everything, including other laws. Lin Moyu entered the tent to start treatment, and the wounded lying inside were all in serious condition. Most of 2 bodies melted away, leaving only bones. There was another one, the part above the chest was scorched black, and his limbs were broken. It is not known how he escaped. They are basically in the realm of true gods, not as powerful as Tang. The speed of injury deterioration is also far faster than Tang Zhen. If it is delayed for a few more days, it is basically dead. In fact, in the final analysis, it was also because of the strange power in the manor that they were unable to recover from their injuries. Otherwise, there are elixir, which can completely cure their injuries. Lin Moyu used the law of immortality to first annihilate the power entangled in him, and then transform into the power of life for healing. Lin Moyu multitasked and treated 440 more people at the same time, which was very fast. At the same time, Lin Moyu was also thinking about the number that Li Yuanbai reported just now. According to this calculation, 1,676 people have died inside. When he came out, there were no living humans in the manor. 1,676 people, naturally not many in terms of the number of human races. Those who may come to the battlefield are basically extremely talented cultivators, which are different from ordinary people. It is a pity that such a person has lost too much. It seems that after getting some information, Li Yuanbai is already discouraging others from going in. Otherwise, there must be more than these people who go in, and more people will die. Lin Moyu thought in his heart, the action is not slow, and soon the alien power in these people will be expelled. The law of immortality also instantly became the power of life, cooperating with the law of life and the elixir to heal wounds together. The injury soon stabilized and Lin Moyu entered another tent. The other tent was full of female practitioners, and besides the ones who were lying down, there were a few others who were taking care of them. This kind of care is meaningless and serves no purpose. After Lin Moyu entered, without saying a word, he flicked his finger, and the law of immortality flew out. 10 seconds later, Lin Moyu walked out of the tent. Newborn flesh and blood, a piece of white flowers, do not see evil. After coming out, Lin Moyu directly said to Li Yuanbai, don't let people go in again. Li Yuanbai was taken aback for a moment, and asked instinctively, why? In Li Yuanbai's view, although many people died this time, some people also returned safely. Now Wang Xing and Lin Moyu have also returned one after another, presumably they will bring back a lot of useful information. Combining the information of the 2, useful strategies can be recreated. Now is the time to enter on a large scale, and even allow the army to enter. But Lin Moyu said, don't go in again. Lin Moyu looked at Wang Xing. Elder Wang didn't say that. Elder Wang said, I said it, but I have been trapped in the secret room maze, and the information I have obtained is limited. Lin Moyu continued to ask, I mean, didn't Elder Wang say anything about the small pagoda that Elder Wang got? Wang Xing blushed. I want to say it, but it's a little hard to say. I want to wait for you to come out and talk about it together. He meant to see what Lin Moyu got. Maybe he was just an accident. Lin Moyu sighed, tell me, I am the same as you. Wang Xing smiled wryly, so, there are all such things inside. Lin Moyu hummed, it's all like this. Wang Xing sighed, unexpectedly, after being dead for so long, there is such a result, there is really no need to let people in again. Li Yuanbai frowned, you two are so dumb. Wang Xing took out the small pagoda he got and stuffed it into Li Yuanbai's hand. The moment Li Yuanbai took the small tower, he saw the information in it. Tower of Imprisonment. It can release the cage that traps the gods, but it is just imposing and has no practical effect. Li Yuanbai was stunned on the spot. Toy. Just a toy. Wang Xing nodded helplessly, yes. After so many people died, they either got unknown crystals or toys. This is funny. Lin Moyu quickly recounted his own experience, which mirrored what Wang Xing said. At the same time, he also took out a toy and threw it to Li Yuanbai. Li Yuanbai immediately issued an order not to allow anyone to enter. It was only discouraged before, but now it is prohibited. At the same time, he communicated with the upper echelons of the human race and reported the information he got. There is no real benefit, and there are dangers to face. If you are not careful, your life will be lost. What are you going to do in this kind of place? Li Yuanbai and Wang Xing were left to deal with the next matter, and Lin Moyu could be considered retired. Immediately after returning, Emperor Qian asked, "How is it going?" Lin Moyu smiled. Brother Qian made the right choice. Qian Wang's face was not happy. It seems that the inside is really dangerous. Many people have gone in these days, but not enough can come out. Lin Moyu nodded. It's dangerous inside, and there's nothing good about it. Emperor Qian knew that Lin Moyu would not talk nonsense. Is there no reward? Lin Moyu threw a toy to Emperor Qian. This is the reward. What he threw to Qian Huang was the invincible shield. Seeing this, Qian Huang couldn't help laughing. Isn't this a deceptive thing? Lin Moyu said, it's not a trick to deceive people. It's good to coax children. Senior brother Qian has a wife at home. I still have few toys here, which I can give to you. I thought Qian Huang would refuse, but Qian Huang said sincerely, if junior brother Lin doesn't want it, you can give me some. Although I don't have a wife and children, there are indeed many small families in the family. Lin Moyu laughed, and threw some toys to him. It can be seen that Chan Huang's family is very united. Now that the manor has no meaning, the two of them will not stay any longer. Lin Moyu took another look at the manor before leaving. The grove behind the manor looks lush and lush. He originally wanted to go to the grove to have a look, but after stepping into the gate, he left Yuyuan. Obviously, although the grove can be seen, it cannot be passed through. Maybe it was because of the Great War that the grove was destroyed, or maybe it was because of some other reasons. Now that he can't make it through, Lin Moyu doesn't feel sorry. Senior brother Qian, do you plan to continue training on the battlefield? Lin Moyu asked. Emperor Qian has been promoted to God King. If he wants to practice again, he has to go to a deeper level area. That is the area controlled by forts number 7, number 8, and number 9. It's even more dangerous there. If you only pass by the first level of the God King, the danger is very high. Normally, it should be after the third level of the King of Gods, and then go there, starting from the 7th fortress to look for Ren Luo. Of course, you can also choose to be active in the area of fortress number 6, but within that range, there are not many tasks suitable for the God King realm. Showing pride, he doesn't look down on ordinary tasks. Lin Moyu guessed that he might go back and practice for a while before coming back. Sure enough, Qian Huangdi answered, confirming Lin Moyu's guess. I want to go back to the family. There is a rule in the family. As long as you reach the level of God King, you must return to the family and accept the family inheritance. Lin Moyu has heard about family inheritance. There are many big families with strong ancestors who have left some unusual inheritances. Some inheritance can enhance the power of spells, and some inheritance can improve cultivation. It is normal for a big family like the Qian family to leave inheritance. This is not a secret, many people in the Vermilion Bird Starfield know it, and inheritance is something that cannot be snatched away, only bloodline heirs can use it, and must meet certain requirements. So Emperor Qian said it openly, and there is no need to hide it. After Qian Huang finished speaking, he asked, where is junior brother Lin? Lin Moyu said, I'm on my second chain of missions, and I still need to stay on the battlefield for a while. Qian Huang looked curious. I'm also performing the second serial mission. I don't know what the serial mission of junior brother Lin is. Each person gets a different score for the second chain task based on the score of the first chain task, and it will not be the same. Lin Moyu talked about his serial tasks, and Qian Zhen fell into deep thought after listening. His understanding of Renwang Network's tasks is obviously much better than that of Lin Moyu. The amount of information accumulated in the family for thousands of years is not comparable to that of Lin Moyu. Qian Huang thought for a long time before saying, Junior Brother Lin's first serial missions were all completed perfectly. Moreover, Junior Brother Lin has extraordinary combat power. He has been on the battlefield and killed many hostile races. So this time, Junior Brother Lin's second serial mission is mainly to test combat power. Whether it's killing the top 10 guys on the reward list, or battlefield missions, and accumulating military merits, it's a test of combat power. Junior Brother Lin is the real genius. Compared with Junior Brother Lin, he is too far behind as a demon. After he finished speaking, Lin Moyu was greeted with blank eyes. Apparently Lin Moyu didn't quite understand what he was saying. Qian Huang laughed and said, "It's actually very simple. According to our family's accumulation of information over the years, although there are many tasks on the Human Emperor network, they can be divided into several directions. The first general direction is the direction of combat power. The tasks in this direction basically test combat power. The second general direction is calmness. The tasks in this direction test the ability of people to cope with calmness, which is very rare. The third direction is the comprehensive direction. The mission of this side not only tests the combat power, but also tests the adaptability. Maybe the combat power is not the strongest, nor the smartest, but the comprehensive strength is the best." Lin Moyu listened and thought it made sense. The fourth direction, and the most interesting direction, is luck towards. Before he finished speaking, a figure suddenly appeared beside the two without a sound. Before he finished speaking, a figure suddenly appeared beside the two without a sound. Zhu Qiwu, dressed in black, suddenly appeared next to Lin Moyu, startling Qian Huang, who was talking endlessly. When Emperor Qian saw Zhu Qiwu, he trembled instinctively, and boundless fear rose in his heart. He could feel Zhu Qiwu's strength, which was unbelievably strong. Even the elders in the family couldn't compare with Zhu Qiwu. Lin Moyu saw Zhu Qiwu and saluted respectfully. "Why are you here?" Zhu Qiwu's voice was low and extremely serious. "I have something to ask you." Then he glanced at Emperor Qian. "You leave first." There was majesty in the voice, like a king who said nothing, and he would not allow Emperor Qian to refuse. Qian Huang dared to refuse. He could see that if the person in front of him wanted to crush him to death, he didn't need to use his hands at all, maybe his breath would be enough. But if he left just like that, wouldn't it be very disrespectful? Lin Moyu smiled slightly. "Senior Brother Qian, let's go first. I'm going to do something with Senior Zhu. We will meet again by fate." Emperor Qian snorted. "Junior Brother Lin, take care, we will meet again by fate." He turned and left, flying farther and farther. Until the figure of Lin Moyu was lost in sight, Emperor Qian suddenly thought of something and trembled all over his body. "The surname is Zhu, and it's so scary. Could it be Lord Guardian?" "Hey, Junior Brother Lin actually knows Lord Guardian. It's too scary. I heard that the Guardian, who never talked to anyone, would actually look for Junior Brother Lin. Junior Brother Lin is really extraordinary." Emperor Qian tried his best to suppress the shock in his heart, and flew towards the outpost. Lin Moyu looked at Zhu Qiwu. "Why do seniors want me?" Zhu Qiwu took out a formation plate and activated it in the starry sky, turning it into a large-scale teleportation formation. Zhu Qiwu stepped into the teleportation array and said in a deep voice, "Come in." Zhu Qiwu looked serious. Obviously something really happened. Lin Moyu didn't talk too much nonsense, and stepped into the teleportation array. The teleportation array was activated, leading the two of them towards the inexplicable starry sky. The teleportation distance is a bit far this time, and it took a lot of time. When sight was restored, Lin Moyu's eyes were dark and he couldn't see anything. With his eyesight, even in a dark environment, he shouldn't be unable to see anything. He could feel that Zhu Qiwu was by his side, but he couldn't see anything. It can no longer be described as being blind. Here, it seems that all the light has disappeared. Suppressing the slight discomfort in his heart, Lin Moyu turned to his side and asked, "Senior, where is this?" Zhu Qiwu said, "You feel it." Lin Moyu felt it as he said, but found nothing. However, he felt that there was an invisible force covering him. Outside of this force, he feels, danger. Zhu Qiwu said, "Someone wants to see you and will ask you some questions, and you should answer them truthfully. At the same time, remember that everything that happened today is forgotten, and don't mention it to others." He believed that Lin Moyu could understand the meaning of his words, and he didn't need to exhort him too much. Lin Moyu hummed to express his understanding. "It seems that the person who will come to see me later is a big shot, and his status should be higher than Zhu Qiwu's. Such a person, Lin Moyu doesn't even need to guess, he must be from Shencheng. Zhu Qiwu has already stood at the pinnacle of the Vermilion Bird starfield, and the only ones who can be stronger than him are those in the City of God. And the status in the City of God will not be low. No, it should be said to be very high. It is the real high level of the human race. He has also seen people from the City of God, like Zhu Jiangxing, a swordsman. They are obviously not as good as Zhu Qiwu. Lin Moyu didn't think too much, he was just curious about the environment he was in now. The eyes cannot see, the light has all disappeared, and it is extremely dangerous. Based on the above 3 points, Lin Moyu suddenly thought of a possibility. He asked in a low voice, "Senior, are we in a black hole?" The little guy is very smart. A clear and hearty voice sounded, and light suddenly lit up in the darkness. A figure appeared in front of Lin Moyu. It was a middle-aged man, wearing a blue robe, very orthodox human attire. This person has an ordinary appearance, with a gentle smile between his eyebrows. He looks like a good old man. But Lin Moyu knew that this person was extremely terrifying. In the black hole, you can make your whole body glow and illuminate all directions. This kind of person is scary just thinking about it. Lin Moyu saluted the other party respectfully. Lin Moyu has met Senior. He waved his hand, with a warm smile, and spoke softly, "Don't be nervous, tell me what you saw and got in the manor." "What's up?" If it is an ordinary thing, needless to say, Yu Yuan has already reported it. Since he still wants to ask this question, the answer he needs must not be an ordinary answer. And this person must also know something about the manor. Even know the reason why the manor will appear. The high-level people of the human race can grasp information far beyond ordinary people. Lin Moyu's thoughts were like lightning, and he figured out the whole thing almost in the blink of an eye. Obviously, the answer he wants to know is a deeper answer. Lin Moyu took out the box he got at the time. "That's when I got this." The middle-aged man took the box with a smile on his face, a gleam flashed in his eyes, and he said with a smile, "Of course it is the Stone of Time." Time Stone. Lin Moyu had never heard of such a thing. However, it is estimated that it is also a very high-end material that can be related to time. The middle-aged man did not hesitate to explain, "The Stone of Time is a material that contains the law of time, and it is one of the top materials. The items made with it can show some characteristics of time. Like, let the time be right." The middle-aged man speaks very gently, slowly, neither too fast nor too slow, like a mountain stream, giving the listener a sense of peace of mind. Only then did Lin Moyu understand. No wonder the words on the animal skin handbook are still as new after so many years. All thanks to the time stone, which stops time from passing. The middle-aged man opened the box and took out the animal skin from it. Lin Moyu put a piece of animal skin obtained from the human corpse, and a piece of animal skin obtained from the study house, plus the animal skin hand tie into it. The other sleeping coffin and animal skin suicide note were not brought out. The sleeper in the sleeping coffin is suspected to be the Skeleton King. Especially after getting the skeleton throne, Lin Moyu felt that it seemed to have something to do with him, so he didn't hand it over. The middle-aged man took out the animal skin and said lightly, "Yes, it is indeed the skin of the original beast, and it is also used in the ancient Battle of the Origin." He glanced at Lin Moyu. "Have you read what's inside?" Lin Moyu generously admitted, "I saw it." The middle-aged man hummed, and didn't say much. He began to check the contents on the animal hide. After reading it, he said to himself, "There is a little more information. Little guy, what do you think is written on it?" Lin Moyu shook his head. "I don't really understand. It's probably the record of the battle that year. A hide I found on the way, which seems to have been written by the assailant. I found the other one in a study room. It should be written by the owner of the castle. The handwriting is a bit messy. It may have been typed at that time. He wrote it in a hurry. As for this book, I don't quite understand it. As far as I can remember, I have never seen that kind of calendar, and those should be place names. I haven't heard of them either.